Let's be honest. At some point, we've all used the words ship and boat like they're the same thing. Maybe you've said, "I went on a boat cruise," or "That's a fancy ship you've got there," and nobody really blinked. But here's the thing. There is a difference. It's not just some nautical snobbery or trivia-level detail. The line between a boat and a ship has real historical, functional, and even legal roots. So today, we're diving deep, not literally, into one of the most basic maritime questions out there. What's the difference between a ship and a boat? Let's break it down, right here, on History of Simple Things. First off, the confusion goes way back. Even sailors and shipbuilders from centuries ago used the terms inconsistently. In Old English, the word boat came from the word bat, while ship came from the Old Norse skip. Over time, boat came to describe smaller vessels, while ship was used for larger ocean-crossing giants. But this distinction wasn't always clear. Before engines, before GPS, and definitely before cruise liners with onboard pools, most watercraft were limited in size. So back then, the difference was more about function than anything else. It wasn't until ships got really big, think multiple masts, huge cargo holds, and crews of dozens or even hundreds, that the separation became more obvious. Let's talk about the most basic and widely accepted distinction: size. A ship is almost always bigger than a boat. That's the general rule of thumb. If you're standing on it and it feels like a floating city, congrats, you're probably on a ship. If it feels cozy enough to rent for a fishing weekend with your buddies, that's a boat. Ships are large enough to carry boats. Think lifeboats, tugboats, or even submarines. You'll never see it the other way around. No one's hauling a container ship on the back of a speedboat. There's even a popular saying in maritime circles, "A ship can carry a boat, but a boat can't carry a ship." It's a bit cheeky, but it sums things up pretty well. Okay, so we've talked size, but size isn't everything, especially when it comes to boats and ships. The design and construction of each vessel offer more clues. Ships are built with multiple decks, often divided into compartments for cargo, engines, crew quarters, and more. They're engineered for long voyages, high seas, and heavy loads. Think steel hulls, radar systems, and massive engines the size of small buildings. Boats, on the other hand, are generally simpler. They might have a single deck, a small motor or outboard engine, and fewer safety features, because they're not usually meant to cross oceans or survive hurricanes. There are, of course, gray areas. What about a mega yacht or a nuclear submarine? We'll get to those in a bit. Another good way to tell the difference: what the thing is actually used for. Ships are typically used for commercial, military, or long-distance travel. We're talking cargo ships, cruise ships, naval destroyers, tankers, and aircraft carriers. They're tools of the global economy and national defense. A single container ship can haul thousands of tons of goods across oceans for weeks at a time. Boats, on the other hand, are more local. You'll find them on rivers, lakes, and coastal waters. They're used for fishing, recreation, small-scale transport, or short-range rescue missions. They're the kinds of vessels you drive for a day, not a month. Let's look at how many people it takes to run one of these things. A ship, you'll need a trained crew. There's usually a captain, engineers, navigators, cooks, deckhands, the whole shebang. Operating a ship isn't just start the engine and go. It's coordinated, regulated, and sometimes even government monitored. Boats? Way simpler. A small boat might be operated by just one person, maybe two if you're out fishing or water skiing. No need for a full bridge crew or an international license. Of course, there are exceptions. A U.S. Navy SEAL boat might have a full tactical team, while a retired millionaire might be sailing his yacht solo. But in general, the more crew required, the more likely you're dealing with a ship. All right, now for the technical side. This is where it gets a little boring, but still important. In maritime law, ships and boats are classified differently. The U.S. Coast Guard, for example, defines vessels as anything that floats and moves on water. But under that broad umbrella, they break things down based on size and purpose. Anything over 100 feet is typically considered a ship. Anything below that, a boat. International maritime conventions also define ships as ocean-going vessels subject to international laws. Think SOLAS, safety of life at sea, MARPOL, pollution prevention, and the like. Boats don't usually fall under these global rules unless they're operating in international waters. So yeah, if lawyers and insurance agents are involved, the distinction suddenly matters a lot. Now here's the fun part, exceptions. Submarines? They're technically boats, even though some are bigger than surface ships. Why? Tradition. The first submarines were launched from ships, so they inherited the boat label. Naval slang stuck. What about yachts? If it's small enough to fit on a trailer, it's a boat. If it has multiple decks, a crew, and satellite Wi-Fi, you're probably on a ship disguised as a luxury item. And then there's the ferry. Is it a boat? A ship? A floating bus? It depends on where you are and how big it is. So while the rules exist, real life loves to blur the lines. Even professionals sometimes argue about borderline cases. So, what's the final verdict? If it's big, complex, ocean-going, and crew-operated, you're on a ship. If it's smaller, simpler, and you can probably take it out for a day with a few friends, you're on a boat. It's not always black and white, and there are plenty of blurry cases, but now at least you've got the facts. You'll know the difference the next time you're near the water, or at least you'll sound smart when someone else doesn't. And if nothing else, you can always pull out the golden rule. A ship can carry a boat can't carry a ship. Boom! Mic drop. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.